Have you ever seen a car that just stops you in your tracks? A machine so bold, so unapologetically different that it defies all convention? Today, we're diving deep into the chrome-laden, fantastic world of what might just be the most audacious and funky Mopar ever to roll off the assembly line. The breathtaking 1961 Imperial. This isn't just a car. It's a statement, a piece of rolling sculpture from an era of unparalleled automotive extravagance. But before we get lost in the mesmerizing details of this land yacht, if you have a passion for classic cars, for the stories behind the steel and the chrome, then you've found your home. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a journey back in time with us. Your support is what fuels this channel, and we're thrilled to have you along for the ride. Topic 1. Chrysler's Crisis and the Dawn of a New Era. Now, to truly appreciate the magnificent oddity that is the 1961 Imperial, we need to set the stage. The late 1950s and early 1960s were a turbulent make-or-break period for the Chrysler Corporation. Many of you who are connoisseurs of automotive history will recall the seismic shockwave Chrysler sent through the industry with its revolutionary forward-look cars in 1957. Penned by the legendary Virgil Exner, these vehicles were a stylistic triumph. With their soaring tailfins, sleek, thin rooflines, and aggressive stances, they were beauties that made the competition look instantly dated. For a glorious moment, Chrysler was the king of cool, capturing the public's imagination and a staggering market share of nearly 20%. They were on top of the world. But that triumph was tragically short-lived. By 1959, the dream had soured into a nightmare. While the 1957 models were undeniably stunning, their build quality was, to put it mildly, atrocious. Stories of rampant rust, thanks to the inexplicable lack of front wheelhouse liners, and snapping torsion bars became the stuff of automotive legend, and not in a good way. These weren't just teething problems. They were fundamental flaws that shattered the public's trust. As a result, Chrysler's reputation, once soaring, came crashing down to earth. Their market share was slashed almost in half, plummeting to a dismal 11% by 1959. It was a spectacular fall from grace, a cautionary tale of style over substance. Faced with this crisis, Chrysler knew it had to make a radical change. For the 1960 model year, they embarked on a massive $350 million gamble to completely re-engineer their lineup. The primary focus was on exorcising the demons of the past, particularly the dreaded rust issue. The most significant innovation was the widespread adoption of unibody, or unitized construction. This method, which integrated the body and frame into a single, cohesive structure, promised a stronger, quieter, and more durable vehicle. While the revolutionary torsion bar front suspension introduced in '57 remained, it was now mated to this new, more robust platform. Chrysler's new marketing mantra became the quick, the strong, and the quiet, a direct appeal to customers who had been burned by the shoddy craftsmanship of the recent past. They were desperate to prove that they had learned their lesson. This corporate reinvention extended to their dealer network as well. For years, Plymouth and Dodge franchises had been intertwined, but Chrysler now sought to separate them, emulating the successful brand-distinct dealership model of General Motors. Plymouth, with its high sales volume, was now positioned to stand on its own, bolstered by the introduction of the compact Valiant in 1960, initially marketed simply as the Valiant, not the Plymouth Valiant. To give Dodge dealers a fighting chance in the lower-priced market segment, Chrysler gave them the Dodge Dart, a full-sized car with, let's just say, distinctive styling. By 1961, the Dodge lineup was further enhanced with the introduction of the Lancer, a stylish and handsome cousin to the Valiant. It was within this whirlwind of corporate restructuring and stylistic reinvention that our star of the day, the 1961 Imperial, was born. Topic 2. The Zenith of Exner, unveiling the '61 Imperial's unforgettable face. Now, with that context firmly in mind, let's feast our eyes on this magnificent beast. a 1961 Imperial convertible. This car is the absolute pinnacle of Virgil Exner's let's throw every idea at the wall design philosophy. While the entire 1963 generation of Imperials had this funky plucked chicken aesthetic, the 61 model is, without a doubt, the most flamboyant and audacious of them all. By 1962, the design was already being toned down, and by 63, the influence of Elwood Engel, Exner's successor, was becoming apparent, smoothing out some of the more extreme design cues. But in 1961, Exner's vision was pure and undiluted. Let's start with that absolutely bonkers front end. The most striking feature, the one that immediately sets the 61 Imperial apart from anything else on the road, then or now, is the treatment of the quad headlamps. They aren't integrated into the grille or the fenders in any conventional way. Instead, they float in individual chrome-plated pods, seemingly suspended in mid-air within massive scalloped coves carved out of the fenders. It's a design element that is both beautiful and baffling. Imagine the sheer complexity of the sheet metal stamping required to create those deep, intricate fender shapes. It's a testament to the skill of the tool and die makers of the era. And can you picture the clay modelers in the Chrysler design studio, meticulously sculpting those curves, hollowing out the coves to perfectly frame the headlamps? It's pure artistry. Of course, from a practical standpoint, it's a bit of a nightmare. How on earth would you ever get a cleaning brush behind those floating headlamps to remove road grime and dirt? It's a design that prioritizes style over all else. The grille itself is a masterpiece of linear horizontal chrome, stretching the full width of the car. It's clean and elegant, providing a stark contrast to the flamboyant headlamps. Above these headlamp pods, you have these wonderful eyebrows that house the turn signals, which then flow into a thick spear of stainless steel trim. This trim piece is a work of art in itself. It originates on the inboard section of the hood, wraps seamlessly around the complex curves of the fender, and then embarks on a dramatic, diving trajectory down the side of the car. It's not just a piece of decorative trim. It actively defines and accentuates the underlying body contours, creating a beautiful interplay of light and shadow. Adding to the visual intrigue is the delightfully asymmetrical placement of the Imperial Eagle emblem. Instead of being centered, it's nestled over on the driver's side of the grille, encased in a striking red rectangular box. It's a small detail, but it adds a touch of bespoke, coach-built character to the car. This entire front-end design would be completely scrapped for the 1962 model year, replaced by a more conventional split grille theme. But for this one glorious year, the 1961 Imperial presented a face to the world that was utterly unique and unforgettable. Topic 3. Engineering, Ingenuity, and Manufacturing Marvels. As we continue our visual tour of this magnificent machine, it becomes clear that the 1961 Imperial was not just a design exercise. It was also a marvel of manufacturing and engineering ingenuity. Take a closer look at the hood and fender area. The hood itself is a trapped design, meaning it's bordered by body panels on 3 sides. This requires incredibly precise dimensional control during assembly to ensure consistent panel gaps. But the real cleverness lies in how that prominent stainless steel trim piece we discussed earlier serves a dual purpose. I strongly suspect that it cleverly conceals a seam, disguising the fact that the upper fender and the lower fender are actually 2 separate pieces of stamped metal. This would have been a practical solution to the immense difficulty of forming such a complex shape from a single piece of sheet metal. This theme of using bright work to mask manufacturing necessities continues at the rear of the car. The towering tailfins, a signature of the 61 model, are capped with a strip of chrome that, upon closer inspection, likely hides the seam where the inner and outer fin panels are joined. It was simply impossible to stamp a piece of sheet metal with such deep and sharp creases in one go. So, the designers and engineers worked in perfect harmony, creating a solution that was both practical and aesthetically pleasing. It's a brilliant example of form and function working hand in hand. And speaking of engineering challenges, can you imagine the task of ensuring that those freestanding headlamp pods didn't vibrate and jiggle uncontrollably every time the car hit a bump? The underlying support structure for those pods must be incredibly robust, a testament to the engineer's determination to bring Exner's wild vision to life without compromise. This was not a car built for shortcuts or cost-cutting. Let's talk about sheer presence. This Imperial is an absolute behemoth. It rides on a massive 129-inch wheelbase and stretches to an overall length of 227 inches. To put that in perspective, it's almost 2.5 feet longer than a modern Chrysler 300. This was a car that commanded respect and a very large garage. Interestingly, it wasn't even the longest Imperial ever produced. That title belongs to the 1973 model, which, thanks to its massive 5 mph bumpers, measured an astounding 235 inches. But the 73's length was dictated by safety regulations. The 61's length is pure, unadulterated style. The body side is a masterclass in subtle, elegant surfacing. The flat top plane of the front fender flows seamlessly into a smooth shoulder line on the door. As your eye moves rearward, this shoulder line gracefully begins to rise, organically transforming into the leading edge of that magnificent tail fin. It's a beautifully executed, uninterrupted line that gives the car a sense of motion even when it's standing still. My only minor critique of the car's proportions would be the somewhat lengthy front and rear overhangs, a common trait of cars from this era. The dash-to-axle ratio isn't as dramatic as on some of its contemporaries, giving it a slightly less athletic stance. If anything, the car looks like it could have used an even longer wheelbase to balance out its massive extremities. But that's a minor quibble in an otherwise stunning design. And don't miss the subtle, tapered surface that originates just behind the front wheel, flowing rearward to gently blend into the quarter panel. It's a testament to the stylist's attention to detail. Topic 4. A custom look and a fantastical interior. As we move to the rear three-quarter view, the sheer expense and complexity of this design become even more apparent. The integration of the various body panels is nothing short of breathtaking. As I mentioned, the chrome trim on the fins is a clever disguise, but the real magic is happening below the taillights. Notice the complete absence of a visible seam where the quarter panel wraps around to meet the decklid surround. It's a smooth, unbroken surface. I am almost certain that there is a seam there, but it has been painstakingly filled with lead and metal finished by hand to create a perfectly seamless appearance. This was an incredibly time-consuming and expensive process, typically reserved for high-end, coach-built automobiles. It gives the Imperial the look of a car carved from a single block of steel, not one assembled from a collection of individual panels. It's this dedication to craftsmanship that elevates the Imperial above its mass-produced rivals. The taillights themselves are another highlight of Exner's jet age fantasy. Like the headlights, they are freestanding, housed in rocket-like chrome nacelles that seem to float above the rear deck. The red lens portion appears to be suspended within the chrome housing, creating a mesmerizing three-dimensional effect. It's pure theater. The decklid, with its famous toilet seat, or as Chrysler more elegantly called it, flight sweep deck lid indentation, is another controversial but undeniably unique styling element. The rear bumper is beautifully integrated into the bodywork, with a bright trim piece accentuating the clean parting line. The quality of the sheet metal on this particular example is also worth noting. These are enormous, flat body panels, which are notoriously difficult to stamp without introducing minor waves or ripples. But the reflections on the side of this car are glass-smooth and distortion-free, a sign that Chrysler's renewed focus on quality in the early 1960 seconds was paying off. Compare this to a later Imperial, like my own 1972 model, and you'll often see those telltale ripples, a sign that the same level of care wasn't always taken in later years. Now, if you thought the exterior was wild, brace yourself for the interior. It is, if anything, even more funky and futuristic. The centerpiece is the incredible Squircle square circle steering wheel. It's a two-spoke design, but the spokes are flattened and taper towards a vanishing point in the center, creating a truly unique and artistic look. Flanking the main instrument cluster are two prominent pods. The left pod houses a full set of gauges and, most notably, the push-button controls for the legendary TorqueFlite automatic transmission. The right pod would have originally contained the HVAC controls, although on this particular car, they've been replaced by aftermarket air conditioning knobs. But the overall design is pure 1,960-second science fiction. Imagine yourself sitting in that driver's seat, your hands on that bizarrely shaped wheel, your fingers poised over those push buttons, piloting this land-bound starship down the highway. It must have been an experience unlike any other. The instrument panel itself is a work of art, with clear, legible gauges and a prominent speedometer. And even in 1961, safety was becoming a consideration. While the car lacks a modern collapsible steering column, the dashboard features generously padded upper and lower sections to help protect occupants in a crash. As a full-size convertible, the Imperial offers cavernous space for front passengers, and while the rear seat is a bit more intimate, it still provides ample room for two adults to travel in supreme comfort. It's an interior that is as beautiful as it is bizarre. Topic 5. The heart of the beast and a rock-solid foundation. Of course, all this style would be meaningless without a worthy powertrain, and the 1961 Imperial did not disappoint. Nestled under that massive hood is Chrysler's formidable 413 cubic inch wedge V8 engine. In 1961, this powerhouse was rated at a very healthy 350 horsepower, more than enough to move this heavy machine with authority. Interestingly, for the 1962 and 1963 model years, while the displacement remained the same, the horsepower rating dropped to 340. The exact reason for this is unclear, but it may have been a response to a broader industry trend towards de-emphasizing the horsepower race. For instance, over at Lincoln, the notoriously cost-conscious Robert McNamara had decreed that the massive 430 cubic inch V8S in their cars should be fitted with two-barrel carburetors, significantly hobbling their performance potential. Regardless, the 413 wedge in the Imperial was a durable and reliable engine, capable of propelling this nearly 5,000-pound convertible from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 9 seconds. While that may not sound blistering by today's standards, for a luxury liner of this size and weight in 1961, it was genuinely impressive performance. And that was on the skinny bias-ply tires of the era, which offered notoriously poor traction. With modern radial tires, the car's acceleration would likely be even better. Now, remember how we talked about Chrysler's move to unibody construction for most of its 1960 lineup? Well, the Imperial was the exception. It would retain a traditional body-on-frame construction all the way until the 1967 model year. And what a frame it was! The Imperial's frame was a massive, fortress-like structure, and on the convertible models, it was further reinforced with heavy-duty cross-bracing to maintain rigidity. This incredibly rugged construction made Imperials of this era the undisputed kings of the demolition derby circuit. They were so tough and overbuilt that they were eventually banned from many competitions because they were simply too dominant. So, while Chrysler's overall build quality may have been inconsistent at times, there's no denying the sheer, brute strength of the Imperial's foundation. So, there you have it. The 1961 Imperial. A car born from a period of corporate crisis. A machine that represents the absolute zenith of Virgil Exner's futuristic and flamboyant design language. It's a car with a face you'll never forget, an interior straight out of the Jetsons, and a foundation as rugged as a bank vault. It is, without a doubt, one of the funkiest, most fascinating, and most endearing cars of the 1960 seconds. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think of the 1961 Imperial? Is it a masterpiece of mid-century design? Or is it just too over the top? And if you don't think this is the funkiest car of the 1960 seconds, what is? Let us know in the comments below. We love reading your stories and insights, and your contributions help make our community of classic car lovers stronger. If you enjoyed this deep dive into automotive history, please show your support by giving this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can join us for our next adventure. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.